Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order, welcome to HPANWO TV. And I'm outside, as you can see, the new Westgate Centre. And here it is in all its glory. I'll just step back a little bit and you get a better view of it. Right, you see, now, I featured this in my video about Oxford Castle, if you remember that. You remember that was a few months ago and it was actually in the middle of being built. Well, now it has been finished. It has been finished and it is done. And it's opened a couple of days ago. And everything is, well, it still has that kind of like novelty look to it. And it won't last forever. Now, I've already done some filming inside the centre with my pen camera. I decided to do that first, just in case, even though that's going to come later in the film. The reason I did that was in case if the security guards see me out here with my camcorder, they may work out what I'm doing when I go in there later and film. So I decided to do the internal shooting first. So I've got the internal shoot done, and you'll be seeing that shortly. But the first thing that strikes me about this facade, this very grand facade, is obviously intended to shock and awe the natives. This is the equivalent of the Roman fortress dominating the skyline. It's power here. There's a massive amount of power. There's a lot of intense elegance. For instance, there's this slightly off-circular window at the above the main entrance where it says Westgate, which is actually also, if you look at it, it's actually designed to be seen from ahead at an angle. So if you look at it, if you're standing straight in front of it, you can see the way that the angles of the internal walls of the window frame there, the internal side of the window frame. Oh my God, go call the fire brigade. There were actually a couple of fire engines here earlier. They're gone now, just when they're needed. Okay, so you can see here that it's actually designed to be seen from in front at this angle here, so slightly to the left of the main entrance. I don't know why that is. Now, there's also this rather unusual sort of tumbler-shaped glass structure on top of one corner. This reminds me... Oh, get away from that bloody smoke. Now, this reminds me very much of the BBC. If you remember my tour of the Broadcasting House, and there was like that conical structure above the window. Now, why is that? I don't know why that is, but this particular building seems to have incorporated that same architectural style into it, with the glass structure on one corner. Remember, on the Broadcasting House, it was above the John Peel wing. It was a tapering cone, or tapering. I thought it looked like an Illuminati torch. So very, very interesting why that's there. It's obviously it's a folly. It's got nothing inside it. It's obviously there just to look nice. So let's continue now. There's a row of pigeons. There's a row of pigeons perching on the roof, Alfred Hitchcock style. I wonder if they're going to come down and attack the people going in. And now I'm going to take a little tour around the side of the building. So I'm going to have a walk down here and see what happens. It's a nice day actually. It's very sunny. I've got to go to work soon actually, so I can't spend too long here. Now this part of the building is actually it's completely unchanged. This is actually what was there beforehand. This was built sometime in the 1970s or 1960s, and it is exactly what used to be there before, and it hasn't changed. But Big Brother is watching me, and two can play at that game, sunshine. I don't love you. So this is what it used to be. I remember there used to be there was a nightclub up there. It went by various names: Boodles, downtown Manhattan on Fifth Avenue, several other names it had. And there was, so I remember that from when I was like a young porter. We used to go there after late shift and go to Boodles or to downtown. Not downtown Manhattan. That was on. Was it downtown Manhattan or Fifth Avenue up there? I can't remember. It changed its name a few times. But you see here Westgate Oxford. But that's all new. But this bit here is exactly as it used to be. Now I'm going to stop filming now because this next bit is just like is where you can't actually see the Westgate Centre at all from this angle. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, now we come around to the western side of the actual structure, and there this is a church. What's it called? I can't remember. I'll find out in a minute. Penny Farthing Lane. Now there used to be a pub here called the Penny Farthing, but it then changed its name to, as pubs do. I'll be saying more about that in a minute. But they just changed its name, and if you go in here, there's the Sainsbury's. Now I'll be showing you the Sainsbury's from the other side, from the inside of the centre. However, now this is the. I went to a really good. Yes, this is St Ebbe's Church. St Ebbe's Church, that's it. I went to a debate in here with, I think it was Alistair McGrath. He was, well, it wasn't a debate, but he was presenting his case against Richard Dawkins. It was very good. Peter Hitchens goes in here, I think. Now, this area here is completely unchanged. This is the original walls, the 1970s brutalist walls of the building, and that particular glass section there and the sort of Illuminati-esque pyramid on top of it, if that's what it is, are the same. There's a row of those pyramids actually, and leading into the internal structure. And you go in there and you get to the new part, which I'll be showing you shortly. So we're going to carry on with our tour around the building. This was the pub called the Penny Farthing. It changed its name. It was called the Parrot. It was called the... What else was it called? It had loads of different names, man. Yeah, it was the Penny Farthing for about 300 years, and they changed it into the Parrot and several other things. I know because we used to go in there. It was another portering hangout, and so we used to go in there after late shift. So I'm going to continue now around to the far side of the building. And this is a little road here, appropriately called Turn Again Lane, and that there is the new Westgate Centre, and you can see that parapet up there. I'll be showing you the view from up there in a minute. So you'll be seeing this area from up there shortly, from above. We're looking at it from below now. As above, so below. Now this is a part of Oxford called St Ebbe's, which was like a traditional residential district, a bit like Jericho. However, it was demolished in the 60s and 70s to build that, or the old version of that. And what used to actually, what you're looking at now, used to be the site of a multi-storey car park, but that was knocked down. It's an ugly thing. Horrible, brutalist red brick thing. It's gone now. However, is what it's been replaced with any better? So I had to get out of the way because the car was coming. It's sad really. I mean, I'll show you the pub in a minute. I must remember to do that. The pub outside the entrance to the centre. I'm just going to go around the far side now to check out what it looks like from the other side. But this is all St Ebbe's. As you can see by this wall here, there's a lot of old, very, very old structures here too, centuries old. And then there's different periods of building work in this area, as is often the case. But it has a charm. It has a charm. There's a lot of the university staff, not the academics so much, who used to live in the suburbs. You know, used to have big houses like C.S. Lewis's place in Risinghurst. But a lot of the porters and the cleaners and the people like that, and the kitchen staff, they used to live in St Ebbe's before it was demolished, and they were moved out to the big estates, Barton, Blackbird Leys, and places like that. So now we're going to look at the building from the far side now. There's obviously some restricted, there's obviously some building work still going on around here. And this is the far side, this is the south side of the new structure here. This is where the car park used to be. And up there is where you get the view. That's the place where you get the Dreaming Spires view, which I'll be showing you shortly. There we are. So just to head back here, this is the new area of St Ebbe's, where they did rebuild a few of the residential places with these houses here, which are quite nice. You know, they're not bad. But I'll see if I can get through, because there's see if I can do a complete circuit. That's what I want to do, so you see the whole thing. And here we are again. We have these strange off-kilter Jenga blocks, and that's another way into the centre there. When we saw this earlier on. No, rather, you haven't yet, but you will do soon. But that's how you get in from the other side, which I'll show you in a minute from inside. And we walk along here. We want to come to the east side of the building. So that's the west side. So it's the other side. That's the east side. I'm getting my points of the compass mixed up. we're coming around to the west side of the building. So this is the other side of John Lewis, which you'll see from the inside in a minute. Yeah, I mean, it's we're actually very close at this point. This is an area, this is known as the Castle Quarter up here, and it's very close to the old Oxford Castle, which I showed you before. Do you remember me? I think it was called the Oxford Zodiac, the film I made. Look at that, see, all very sort of like a bit block woody, and well, it's like wood blocks, you know what I mean? That's the style they've gone for. And there's these apartments, which I don't think I could ever afford to live in. As we go around here, and as you see, Nuffield College ahead. So yeah, we are actually, now that's interesting, we can see Nuffield College from here, because we are actually in the area that I called the Oxford Zodiac. I made a film called the Oxford Zodiac, which was about that. I did it a few months ago. You can find it if you just scroll down in my video list. But there, as I explained earlier, there's a sexual pair just on two sides of a new road. There's that, you see, is definitely a phallic symbol. Absolutely, is a phallic symbol there. Very masculine, full of male sexual energy. On the other side is the old Castle Mound, which is one of the oldest structures in Oxford, and it is a distinct dome. It is a female sexual symbol. Oh, customer collections, Gordon Lewis, yeah. So that is basically, so it's exactly the same as Radcliffe Square, which I showed you in another film called Paranormal Oxford. I'm losing track of all the videos I'm making. I'm making too many. There's no reason to sort of like put this corrugated effect in the brickwork. I think they just do it for the hell of it, because it looks nice. I suppose things looking nice is important, I suppose. I do accept that. I've got to get a bus soon because I've got to go to work, but I can't remember. I don't know which. See, they've changed all the bus stops as well now because of this new building. This is the first time I've been at this part of Oxford since they turned it into this. Now, this is, see, everything I'm looking at now is completely alien. It could easily be anywhere else. And here we see, this is where we get the best view of the interior of the area. Apart from what I'm going to show you shortly. But you can see that there's this huge roof. So it's semi-open, semi-enclosed, and there's this bridge across here where people can look around. And that's where we were earlier on the other side there. And I'm going to carry on round here. There's some bus stops here. I wonder if this is actually this might be the bus stop I got to get. It might be the stop where I get my bus to work. In the good old days when I was a porter. When I was a hospital porter. I could write a song about that, couldn't I? But yeah, in the good old days before my osteoarthritis, I actually could walk. I could walk from here to work, do my work, and then walk home. That's which one of these stops along here, I think. Where to catch your bus in Oxford? Right, that'll helpful. That's helpful, isn't it? 3. Right, and then 3s. That's 3. And then, right, E1, T2, and K2. And this is where so it's M6, M5. It's none of these. Right, great. Not to worry. All shall be sorted. And this is M5, right. Not to worry. Not to worry. What's that one over there? Oh, it is E2. Right, I've got to go there. Okay. Was it T2? I can't remember. Do they have to make it that complicated? But there's my bus anyway. I'm just going to nip over actually and just see. You get actually it's good to cross over because you get a better view of the surrounds. But this, yeah, here it is. Now this is the bus I've got to get. But let's just see if I can actually catch it from here. They've changed it. Oh yeah, number 3. But not yet. I'm not yet finished. So I'm going to carry on up here. Right, in the meantime, let's have a look at this newspaper. This is a special Oxford Times for the meetings, the opening of the new Westgate Centre. And we have this thing here called Unique Low, whatever it's called, that thing with the Japanese thing on there, which well, I've shown you that by now. I think you've seen the interior by now, or maybe I haven't shown you that yet. Whichever order I actually edit this video, there's this new shop that's just opened, a brand new one, which is part of the I think it's the sort of like flagship shop of the new Westgate Oxford, and it's got a big cover advert on there, you know, so that's quite something. I don't think Oxford Times has ever done that before. Oxford Times is a weekly newspaper. It's kind of it's the local broadsheet, whereas the Oxford Mail is the tabloid, the sort of daily tabloid. And this is where you get all the letter writers. They always write into this one, and I will be showing you some of that in a minute. And there's let's have a look. What's in here? What's this? Publishing event of the year. Oh, they've got. My goodness, they've got an article all about Roswell Revealed. And no, it's not. It's about Philip Pullman's Book of Dust. Never mind. I would be interested to look at that. So let us go here. Here's the special. Here's the special feature here on the Westgate Centre, and you can see here a new era for the city centre as revamped Westgate opens. Oh my goodness me! A new era, my goodness me! That's like, oh wow! It's like the city is saved. Oh, I missed that. You see, it opened on Tuesday, so I missed that. An acrobat dressed as one of the characters for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So there's a bit of local literary history there, you see. We'll be seeing more of that inside. And there's some people dressed as I think that's the Mad Hatter there, and I don't know who. There's the Mad Hatter. I don't know who she is. That's not Alice. Or maybe it's another Mad Hatter. I don't know. There's another Mad Hatter there. Maybe they're all dressed as the Mad Hatter. And here we have a couple of shoppers there. Yeah, so there's a couple of shoppers going around buying things. See, there's stuff there. Very, very nice. And Creep. That's it. And then there's Crepsomania. That's a good name, isn't it? And here's the old. There's something else going on, you see. Jonathan Peck inside the kaleidoscope. I never saw that one. See, that's how busy it gets. It gets a lot busier than when I saw it. I actually deliberately went early in the morning to avoid the crowds so I could film inside more easily. And there you see various dignitaries. Brendan Hatton, the general manager of Westgate Centre. The grand opening of John Lewis. Oh my goodness, it's like and the local council leader Bob Price, never heard of him. Just shows how. And here's the changes in traffic here. But it's just looks like it's this whole thing, you know, a new era for the city centre. It's all about. I mean, I'll be saying more about this later, but basically, it's the only buildings we construct in the modern world which match the grandeur and majesty of the ancient cathedrals of the Middle Ages are these massive shopping centres. Nothing. That's it. Nothing else. You never see buildings for spiritual purposes actually constructed on this scale or with this kind of magnificence. You only get the big shopping centres. So I'm going to move on now because I want to go to the letters page. Now this is always, as always with any newspaper, the letters page is by far the most interesting part of any journal. Now we have here, this is a letter from Tony Jackson of Ramsey Road, Headington. Oxford calls itself the city of dreaming spires. To judge by your picture of the new Westgate, the Oxford Times, there we are, and that's it. That's the aerial photograph of this place I'm visiting. And also, that might have to change to the city of faceless oblong blocks. You say that the centre is using an Alice-inspired advertisement to draw the crowds for its opening. This merely adds insult to injury. Lewis Carroll must be spinning in his grave. Well, I have to agree. It's certainly from above. It's certainly not the most attractive building in the world. And I mean. Well, inside it looks grand, but see, its only purpose is to get people to part with money, to part with their money in exchange for goods. That's its only purpose. It's purely a materialistic, it's a temple to the materialistic and the consumerist, as I think I'm going to say later in the video. That's its purpose. It is essentially it's a statement of the modern world. Right. So hold on, but it gets more interesting now. This is an interesting letter here from
Roger Morton of East Oxford. Now, I did an entire video on this, I think, and I did a couple of articles on HPANWO Voice, or HPANWO, the main HPANWO site about that. It's about the Oxford Pound, print and Oxford Pound. Print and Oxford Pound. For a long time now, admirers of the world-famous city of Oxford have been concerned about the policies in which the City Council perpetrates, I can't even read properly now, its attempts to make it a world-class city. However, as the Westgate prepares to open, they realise that it might deprive our more traditional traders of business, leaving behind something of a ghost world-class city and places. So they're considering a new Oxford Pound digital currency, which would give a 10% discount to app users. That's an excellent idea. This is basically a good idea, but why digital and why is it restricted to app users? App users are young people with unnecessarily expensive and complex telephones. Those who are more likely to use the Oxford currency in small local shops and appreciate the discount given for using it are often older or poorer people who do not have these devices. Areas like Cowley Road are very mixed, but students and tourists and reporters and professors could use paper money too. There is, moreover, a big advantage in paper money for the issuer, the City Council, and that this is all, and thus all the citizens. People will take it away without spending it, and it will even be buying it from souvenir shops or the Information Bureau with no intention of spending it. I'm not an economist, but this has got to be like the council printing money or expensively novelty postcards. Other councils as diverse as Stroud, Lewis, Bristol, Totnes and Brixton have done this successfully. But a moment's thought will suggest that poor old-fashioned Oxford is in a superb position to produce a series of world-class local banknotes which would be snapped up by collectors. Wonderland, Narnia, Middle-earth or Lyra's Oxford. Anybody? Lyra's Oxford is actually Philip Pullman's. That's to do with Philip Pullman's series of books, which are very good. I really like them. Narnia, of course, is C.S. Lewis. Middle-earth is J.R. Tolkien, and Wonderland, of course, is Charles Dodgson, Lewis Carroll, in other words. Oxford has a great tradition in literature. Well, I live here, so Roswell. Next, it'll be Roswell. It'll add it to that list. Yeah. It seems obvious to me that if Oxford adopts a merely digital local pound, that would be an opportunity lost, and the local community would love to spend real local pounds in real local shops. My goodness, he's absolutely right. Now, this is something I've covered before. I've actually said this on HPANWO Voice and on HPANWO TV about small local currencies and about how liberating they are. They have the Totnes pound, the Oxford pound. There's so many these small local currencies are essentially a modern form of the LETS, the old LETS system. That's local economic trading system. This actually, I mean, I don't know. I can't put the links in the description box, but please do look for the video. This is the way people can rebel against the current financial system. Just invent your own currency, your own local currency, and use it as legal tender. It's the perfect solution. So if any of my clients want to pay me in Oxford pounds, that's bloody brilliant. So yeah, very interesting. Right, let's have a look at these things I picked up earlier. Westgate Oxford changes to the bus stops locations from the 22nd of October 2017. So this is just to do with the whole the new bus layout, which I'll be using shortly. Here we go. So here we are, Oxford Smart Zone. Well, here you have like cards now for buses. No, this is it. Now I've got to get the number 3, which I've got to get to here from where I've got to go for my work. I have to get to here for my work. So Iffley Turn, which is there. So that's where I'm heading now. On the number 3 bus. So I've got to work out where to catch it. Shouldn't be difficult. And here's the list of bus stops there. So where to catch your bus in Oxford. It'll tell me. I might hang on to this. It'll be useful. But I mean, I don't take many buses. I only take a couple. But that's always useful to. I'm glad they gave me this anyway. At least it's a kind of souvenir of the day. Yeah, so I might get one of these cards now. Okay, this is the thing we talked about. Win £200. Win £200. Ooh. Share your thoughts. We're listening. Tell us what you think about your experience at Westgate Oxford, and you could receive a £200 gift card. Oh, from westgatethoughts.com. Right, well, I'll try what's on the back. Oh, it's just, I think it's just a copy. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll just send them a link to this video, because this video is my thoughts on Westgate Oxford, isn't it?
It's really weird actually standing here and looking around me, because there's the Castle Tavern. It's a very old pub. It's a gay pub now, I think, but it certainly was a while ago. There's the Castle Tavern. I look that way. That's Norfolk Street, and it is completely transformed. What you see there is just like nothing. It looked nothing like this before. Literally nothing like it. It was just like a long, basically the old Westgate that you see the sort of side of the multi-storey car park leading down to Oxpens Road. That's what it used to look like. I remember it very well. And the memory is all I've got now. Maybe a few photos here and there. Oh, Slaxer was doing a thing about that, I think. Oh no, that was Stephen Molyneux. Yeah, Stephen Molyneux was talking about how he worked in a mall and there was a record shop, and the record shop was gone, and it was just his memory. And all these moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain and things like that. Now, if you look in there, you can see into the building there, and you go along here. And now this is where it gets weird, because you look up here, and this is exactly as I remember it. This part here has not changed at all. This part here, apart from that, well, not this bit here, that's new, and those stairs and everything, that's new. But you come past there, and this bit, well, it's been cleaned a little bit. You can see someone's given it a good scrub down. But apart from that, it's exactly the same as it used to be. It's exactly the same as it was. It has been for almost 50 years. Hasn't changed at all. Now you go over there, and that's County Hall. That's the headquarters of Oxfordshire County Council. Probably will end up being the headquarters of the new unitary authority. Don't get me started on that. That's Oxfordshire's EU, and I'm totally against it. I have to do a special video on that. But you go up here, and this is all the same. This is all absolutely the same as it always has been, except this pavement's been cleaned up, and the walls have been cleaned up. They've just been scrubbed off. All the grime from car exhaust has been scrubbed off. Now, there's a pub here called the Cowan Creek. I'm just going to get to the other end here, because you'll see where we are in a minute, because you'll recognise where we'll have done the complete circuit. But there's a pub here you see called the Cowan Creek. Now it's a bit noisy here. Look at that, that's nice. Oh look. Very, very nice in there, isn't it? Comptoir Libanese. Right. That pub called the Cowan Creek. Now there's Nuffield College, you can see. There's the big dick sticking up into the sky. And you look over here, you can see the big fanny of the old Oxford Castle. So there's the sexual pair that I talked about in my Oxford Zodiac film. And there's the pub, the Cowan Creek. Now, that pub is very old. It's had several names over the years since I've been there. Every time I walk past it, it's got a new name. It used to be called K Passa, then it was called OX1, then it was called the Arsehole and Apex. God knows what it was. It had a whole array of different names within the space of a decade. It changed names about 3 times. Yeah, before that, it was always called the Westgate. And it was called the Westgate for all the time it was there. And there's been a pub there for about 400 years, continuously. 400 years. And it was the Westgate pub for 390 odd years. It was the Westgate pub. Then they suddenly started giving it new names. And I've talked before about the breaking down of continuity, the constant change for change's sake. which is designed to mess with our heads. It's designed to disorientate us. That's its intention. And that thing is still on fire. Oh dear. Anyone got a bucket of water? Right. So I'm back where I started now. So the constant changing of pub names and things like that, it's all part of this. I talked about this in my BBC lecture I did on the Basis project. But it's all designed to mess with our heads. It's all designed to screw us up and confuse us. So that's what. That's the reason. That's the reason they keep changing pub names all the time. Nothing's the same. Nothing stays the same. Nothing you can rely on. There's no continuity in life. There's nothing you can ground yourself in. You're just completely adrift in a world of constant transience. And it's straight out of the Frankfurt School. Mind domination, mind destruction, social breakdown, so it can be rebuilt in their image of the New World Order. So I'm back here where I started, here at the Westgate Centre, which is just 100 yards or so from the sexual pair on New Road, which I talked about before. And I look at this, and I look inside there, and I'll tell you what, you go and have a look inside now. I'll let you see inside now, and I'll come back to you in a minute.
Here's got a map. As you see, there are several floors here. Floors spelled F-L-O-O-R-S. Well, of course, that's a pun, isn't it? Because it could mean F-L-A-W-S. So we've got a upper ground, and then there's a lower ground, and there's a roof terrace, and there's these signboards up here that look like they're badly stacked Jenga blocks. Oh, now this is the new entrance to the library. The library was always right next to the Westgate. We have the usual corporate names here, River Island. One I've never heard of. HPANWO. So this is the concourse. This actually used to be part of the old Westgate Centre. This area we're in now. But it used to look very different. They just changed the look of it, basically. That's primarily what's happened. But it has this high barrel vaulted ceiling with the skylights, as you can see. So you carry on along here. What is the cinema here? Right, well I know what to do the next time I'm going to do one of my rolling movie reviews. Now this bit here is partly open, there's like an open gap here. Everyone's wondering why I'm talking to myself. Oh my goodness. There's some kind of Japanese thing there, Olo. Now the Sainsbury's, that's where the Sainsbury's used to be. Now in the old Westgate Centre used to stop here. There was like a row, where I'm facing now, there was like a row of shop fronts. And once you could turn left and go across towards the Sainsbury's, you go out through the Sainsbury's and there's a church. I'll be showing you that later. But we have here like there's a weird kind of thing. Oh look, it's like all open. Can you believe it? And oh my goodness, it's got these hospital style
parapets, which is just glass. And down below there's another floor. Another floor. Oh, we've got some aliens here.
The university taught you in England. Yes, these are professors.
I don't know what planet they come from. Now this is all new. Everything's gone on now. It's new. This is not here in the old Westgate Centre. It's all very Dubai, isn't it? You can imagine kind of like people going along saying things like look at that. All these corporate place names. But we're seeing small local businesses. Oh, there's a branching next. Branching next. Well, one of them, isn't it? Oh, look, there's an open place you can sit. It's connected to this. Fred and Manger. Fred and Manger. Yeah. Oasis. I wonder if they'll give me a rendition of Don't Look Back in Anger. And of course, next Primark, this is the old closed place. I think Paul knows what this is. This weird kind of home sky. Oh, it's information.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
All right, thanks. Sure. I've got some these free.
Yes. Centre maps are coming today because we've had up to 80,000 guests every day.
Oh, right.
So it's on the centre maps.
It's new, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you're online, all the maps are online. So you're on our Westgate website, and we can show you here if you want any particular shop.
Oh, thank you. I'm just looking around at the moment.
Good.
Does the number 2 or 3 bus go from here?
That's outside, so it will be Norfolk Street. So the quickest way is down the escalator, out right, back to Castle Street, Norfolk Street, and it's along there. But it'll be on the map as well.
Thank you very much.
Take a map.
Oh, jeez, I've got one here. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, the natives are friendly. I suspect they're from Earth, actually, those people, but I've got these things here. I'll show you them in more detail later. And this is the upper ground place. Oh, look down here. Oh, that's more like it, a bookshop. Oh, it's a branch of Blackwell's. Let's see if they've got one of mine. Let's see if they've got my books in there. That's Sarah. No, unfortunately not. They've got Milo's book. Do you remember? Let's have a look. F. S, we're on S now. D. F. E. M. Jones. S. No, I'm not there. No Roswell Rising. No Rockall, no Elephant. It's not a very good bookshop, is it? Don't stop me. I don't think Milo would come on that. No. Looks like it's a treat with them. This is all weird because this is like, I'll show you this from the outside, but this is like Castle Street. And it's really strange because I know that view so well, and it's like I'm seeing it from another angle. It's like another dimension. It's like something Philip Pullman-esque. I've gone into another dimension and I'm seeing it from a different place. That's what it looks like to me. John Lewis. Yep. There's a big tower. They're obviously preparing for Diane Abbott's visit. Oh, right, I think that's a milkshake joint. I just know what's the top floor now. Just have a look around. So we have a set of escalators. Just see people walking around. Let's just stop you. She don't want you to get pushchairs and things on there. So we're going up top floor now. I've got to thank my friend Zip actually. He's already been down. He's done some preliminary. He's done a preliminary scouting operation. He's just given me something to go on for some ideas for when I come in. Oh, it's good view from here. Oh, Joe, look. There's this hospital-style parapet and a really high view, and there's the Dreaming Spires. So you can see them. They deliberately split this place up so you can see the Dreaming Spires. Oh, how about that? There's the map of it. Oh, there is a sign saying you are here. Okay. If I turn left, I go into the kitchen garden. If I turn right, if I turn left, there's a cinema as well. We're almost there. Just putting the finishing touches to it. Nice garden. Cinnamon kitchen. Looks like a good place for a night out. There's another set of escalators. Let's see how far we've come. Oh, we're there now. So we go across there. We're in a place called Leisure. There's some bogs in there too. See the bogs? Will they be painted red? Like the ones in The Shining? We'll find out. This place is just called Leisure. Follow on to it. And opening times. Oh, we're just over. No, they're white. I'll put you away for a minute. We've got like a bridge looking over the, oh my god, looking over the whole thing. Can you see that? Very high up here. Yeah. Jump around. I know that from my experience in the hospital. But where are we now? I was going to go back, go the other way. Okay. So go back here to where, go back. I'll go back and to the cinema first, and the Nando's, and then go to the other. It's a fantastic view here. Can you see the hills in the distance? Looking kind of towards Whiteham and that area, and where Oxford is. Oh, we've already got a broken window. That didn't take long. I think I've got to go across here to flavour. Nirvana. They said that aliens in there. another precarious kind of overview of the entire location. Really low. I'm not coming soon. And there is the Nando's. And then some of the films they're going to be showing. Yes. Right. Check that out. Okay, I'm going to go back down now. Check out the lower ground floor. You can see it's definitely designed for shock and awe, isn't it? No doubt about it. It's been years, for years, but there doesn't seem to be a way. We'll find out. I'll go along here first, and then we'll go down and check out the lower floor. The style has changed. The corridor design thing. It's probably the eating out area. There's a curry house, nice one. You've got everything, haven't you? Everyone's favourite dishes. Right, so now we're going to descend. Lower ground. Whatever they call it. Look at the height of that. Look at the height of that ceiling. John Lewis. And then it opens up onto a normal road. I think it's really weird. It's very, very weird. But there's Castle Street again. And out on Castle Street. And you go that way, I must come out on Oxford Road. You completely changed the geography of the whole area. John Lewis did it with this supermarket area. That's where I was earlier, up on that balcony. So I've walked down here. And I think we're done. How you saw that place? And it's some of these shops are not yet open. Open in time for Christmas. Play the history game. Okay, what is that? Ask the question and win prizes. What happens here? Why is it good? Respectively, the Castle next to is that wrong? Second. Oh, it's the biggest. Looks after she's every day. Oh, it's like the world. I think it's published right. Oh, I got one right. It's 45. No? Lose. Oh dear. Oh, come on. Well, never mind. I'm obviously not a history buff of Oxford. I get some people friends. C.S. Lewis. Lewis. Stephen Hawking graduated here. Oxford Prison, you know, I've already done a video about that. Now, Lash Cosmetics, that's where my daughter worked. Well, she didn't work in that Lash Cosmetics up there. Louisa, my daughter, actually worked in the one on Market Street. But, after that, now this is sort of like, we're heading back towards sort of like the Queen Street area now. And, it's just the usual corporate names of the stores. It's not unlike the, you know, like the Broadmarsh Centre in Nottingham, or the Westfield Centre in West London. It's all pretty much the same. Like the site, because it always has a centre. That's the one. Where are we now? Social. Okay. Now I think this is kind of lower down now. Westgate Social. So that's a view out into Castle Creek, and that way you one square there. Comes on in that kind of area. Fast food, yeah, some of the mermaids. Got my geography right. So I come out here. Oh yeah, I'm at the uni altitude. I should be. That's where I was. Back near where I started. Oh, not quite. No. I was in the middle. And here we are, find ourselves back beneath the barrel vaulted ceilings of the old concourse. This is basically, like I said, the original Westgate Centre, which is all it was. And they completely changed it. And there's some other weird aliens hanging around there. Some Visa Reticuli or somewhere. It's filling up. It's only about 11 AM, it's Friday, and it's filling right up. Oh, they're queuing up for the shop. A grand opening of the shop. Whoa! How about that? And we were out. Cover the whole place. Yeah. Right, and we're out.
What do you think? And as I was saying, I mean, as you've just seen yourself, you can get a better impression on this on the inside than you can on the outside. But what is absolutely certain here is that it's a building designed to impress. Like I say, it's designed to shock and awe the natives. It's intended for you to go in there and crick your neck looking up at the sky. Oh wow! So you'll go in there and you'll buy stuff, and you'll be completely and utterly bowled over by the magnificence of the architecture. Now this is the biggest urban development project Oxford has seen probably for close to a century. It's really certainly the city centre, and it costs, I think someone said it costs 400 million, something like that. I don't know, we'll have a look later on. 400 million, something like that. Who knows? But it was very, very expensive, no doubt about that. I was hoping those luminous jackets would come over and tell me to stop filming, and I'd they didn't, unfortunately. Anyway, now, to me, it looks like one of the old cathedrals. One of the medieval cathedrals, these magnificent structures that were built all over Europe almost 1,000 years ago, you know, in the 10th, 11th, the Middle Ages, just after the Norman conquest in Britain, that today still dominate the skylines of many cities. 1,000 years later, they still rise above the rest of the architecture that we put up in the millennium since they were built. And we don't build structures like that anymore for the purposes they were originally built. This is a religious structure. It was built to worship God. I mean, I know you may not be religious. I'm not religious. You may not believe in God. I don't, not in the conventional sense. Yet it was put up there for spiritual reasons. This magnificent structure men were inspired to build these things for spiritual reasons. That never happens today. There is no temple or church that is built on the scale of those cathedrals. Not even the big mega mosques that the government are putting up everywhere to brainwash the youth. Not even they can rival the medieval cathedrals of Europe. Most of them are still standing. There's a couple that were destroyed in World War II, but apart from that, most of them are still standing. It's amazing. Nothing comes close to that, except shopping centres. The only buildings that the modern humans, can erect in the Western world that matches the grandeur of the old medieval cathedrals are these places of the worship of consumerism and materialism, buying things. This is just a huge shop, that's all it is. Yet it is built with a magnificence. You go in, it's the magnificence that takes your breath away. You go in and you see this huge barrel vaulted ceiling. That's the old part of the centre. They've changed. There's big skylights, and you go down towards it leads you down. It's like going down that tunnel of light towards paradise, towards heaven. Like it's almost like a near-death experience. And you come into this huge atrium with the big, and there's the escalators taking you up to where you get a view of the Dreaming Spires. Well, you've seen all that now, and going down into the bottom where there's the various frolics that they've put out for you. The fact that that's all we can do now, that's all that matters in the world, says a lot, doesn't it? It really does. So, anyway, that's all I can say about this, really. I haven't spotted anything sort of like tinfoil hatty in this particular area, I must say. There's nothing specifically Illuminati-esque about it, apart from that, which might be Illuminati, and the fact that I haven't seen anything, and the fact it's built at its location. It's called the Westgate because it used to be the Westgate of the city, which is why the pub's called the Westgate. In the old, it dates back to the Middle Ages, the name. So apart from that, I've not seen anything sort of like HPANWO-esque about this particular structure. But I mean, who knows? I mean, if I find out any more information, I might come back and make a part 2 and a follow-up to this particular video. In the meantime, thank you for watching HPANWO TV, everybody. Hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.